Hi, I'm Adonais Batar, and this is TelliCast. We're talking to Wyatt Proul, who has done something pretty cool lately. You coordinated and wrote and released Professional Community Server, a book by Rocks. And so we're going to talk about that primarily today. So before you start, I want to know a little bit about you. So you joined the CS team recently, right?
Right. I joined in September. Before that, I was working for a company in Iowa called H&I Corporation. And before that, I was in college, so pretty young guy.
Yeah. Were you a developer there also, or?
Yeah, I was a .NET developer there,
cool.
Working on their customer-facing applications.
Okay. What's your primary role on the CS team right now?
Right now, I'm kind of doing builds for Community Server, so all of the SDKs, the web installs, that kind of thing, I compile and package.
Cool. All right. So obviously the book. What was the process like? How did you come up with the idea, and what was it, start to finish, what did it take to get that book written?
Sure. Well, it kind of started in, whenever I first just started using Community Server, I was a little surprised that there wasn't a book out already. I mean, it had a pretty solid user base, so like I said, I was a little surprised that there wasn't a book. And just one day at lunch, just talking with my coworkers, I said, hey, maybe I should try to write a book. I wonder how hard that would be. So since I, made it a public announcement, I felt like kind of obligated that I should follow up on it. And so what I did was I just started doing some research. I looked at O'Reilly Press and a couple of others, and just decided to submit the idea to Rocks and another publisher. And both of them thought it was a good idea, and so then they asked for more information. And for that, I just followed up with just Rocks to see what they would do, since they seemed a little bit more excited about the idea. So followed up with that with the actual proposal, and then I just started writing after that.
And did you get with Rob Howard, I guess, on putting together table of contents, or?
Right. Well, I put together an outline, and then I submitted it to Rocks, and they thought it looked good, but then they also wanted to see what Rob and some of the others thought, so we emailed it to Rob, and he gave pretty good feedback on it.
Good. Cool. And then selecting other authors, right? So you're not the only author in the book.
Right. It went pretty smoothly for a few months, but then toward the end, I realized that there were a few chapters I still had to write that didn't really have time to. And also, the fact that it's a community project, a community product, I decided that it'd be good to include other members of the community and some of the developers on the team, so I just asked a few people, and they all liked the idea of being an author, so they joined up. So Jose, Kayvon, and Jim Martin.
And Jose's the team lead on CS now,
correct?
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's not his official title, team lead, but whatever.
He's our boss. So.
Right. And then Jim Martin is on the services team. He's a developer on the services team.
Right.
And then Kayvon.
He's just a community member.
Right. And
he's been pretty active, and he helped out mainly with kind of doing the module chapter and also localization, since he's Iranian, and so he had some experience with that. So cool. So we talked about the other authors and some of the things that are in there. So did you find any when you were writing, what was some of the gold that you think a reader might see in there? Well, I wanted to make it kind of a book for everybody. So if somebody is just starting Community Server and maybe wanting to know how to install some things, getting familiar with the control panel. So some of the beginning chapters are more of the beginning level chapters. And then I also wanted to target it toward developers. So if you're just kind of getting started with developing, or even some advanced topics like security, which Jose covered that chapter, and like modifying the control panel, or like creating custom reports, some things that aren't really well documented currently. I just wanted to cover that.
Okay, cool. And then anything else? Is there a project going on that you're working on now?
Right. Well, right now I'm working with Ben Teat, who you might know. He created most of the chameleon controls, and so we're working on a new book called Community Server Themes, which should be a little bit more advanced than Professional Community Server. So it should be targeted more just developers and theme developers. Yeah. So that should be out hopefully just a little bit after the end of summer.
Wow. All right. Well, so thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
And thanks for watching. And we'll do this again next week.